Hey everyone, and welcome to the webinar. I'm Mark, a Trader Genius, and I head up the outreach group here. I want to take a few minutes to cover some of the admin aspects of tonight so you kind of get a good idea of what it is you're going to see and more importantly, how long it's going to take. The webinar should last about 30 to 40 minutes, and within that, we're going to have a Q&A section which really covers the most frequently asked questions that we get when we run these webinars live. So we're going to cover that, and then a couple of other important items. One is the fact that we are all traders. Everyone you'll meet tonight is a full-time trader, and we're also part of the Trader Genius community. We do this because we want to, and more importantly, the importance of the community to us. So what you'll see tonight is actually the software part of the membership. And when you'll get the trial membership, you'll see that the software is part of it. But it's important that you get to see it in use demonstrated. And that's the major portion of what tonight's about, as well as a couple of other things. So with that said, I'm going to introduce you to a couple of other people that will be presenting with me tonight. First off is Jess, and I'll invite Jess just to take a couple of minutes, talk more about himself. So Jess, why don't you say hi to the folks?
Yeah, hi everyone. Welcome. As Mark said, my name is Jess. My main purpose or role here at Trader Genius is I'm fortunate enough to take care of the members and make sure you and everyone else has the resources they need. I do have a Army Special Operations background, and from there I went on to get a master's degree and worked in the healthcare space for quite a number of years. All during that time I was trading, and eventually that led to me to be able to become a full-time trader. And I've been lucky enough to know somebody who I trust, whose perspective I value, and who always has my back and has my best interest in mind. And that's Rob. Rob, you want to say hi to folks?
Yeah, thanks, Jess, man. Us experienced traders within the club, we get together and we exchange those best practices. It's one of the best parts about Trader Genius. But for me, my start with Trader Genius came back in 2015. I was also in special operations, but with a Marine background, multiple combat deployments. And I got out. I didn't have a purpose. I didn't really have a tasking or a calling, a mission in my life. Well, trading for myself replaced that. I'll tell you about my coaching experience when I talk about coaching later on. But it's for folks who had experience coming in, like Jess. But Trader Genius is also if you had no experience, like I did. So it'll change your world around if you give it a little bit of elbow grease to build up your trading system. Mark, man, how did you get involved with Trader Genius, brother?
Yeah, I was a long-suffering corporate guy for over 20 years. Uh, Traded a little bit, but knew I was looking for something different. I wanted to have, for me, I guess, like a side gig or a side hustle, ideally making it a full-time thing I wanted to do, but I wasn't sure how to do it. And through a weird chain of events, I actually landed with Trader Genius, and within days realized that this is what I've been looking for. And over a period of time, actually got out of the corporate environment completely. And now I'm a full-time trader. And I was fortunate enough to be invited to help out on the outreach side of Trader Genius because that was actually my background in corporate. And I kind of lend some of those skills to actually open it up and showing people the communities that we have here at Trader Genius. So and I'm going to take a couple of minutes to really cover who TG is. People ask us, well, who are you guys? What are you about? Trader Genius itself has been around since the mid-90s. It was developed by one of the co-founders who was a very experienced trader, very successful, but couldn't find the tool that he was really looking for to maximize the potential of his trading. Thankfully, he was a programmer. So he started from scratch developing this program and over a course of years perfected it, but it was highly technical. He shared it with a few of his friends who were also good traders, and they utilized it and had great success with it. It wasn't until they met one of our other co-founders, who's an expert in systems and processes, who the system really took an evolution into more of a user-friendly style of software. You can actually do it without having almost a PhD in programming to be able to get through it. So what you'll see tonight is that evolution, a very user-friendly software that allows you to develop your own system and your own process very quickly and very easily. Trader Genius is built around three fundamentals. It's really education, community, and technology. And that's what you're going to see tonight is mainly the technology behind it. This is a very sophisticated system in a very simple format that's easy to use. The community, as we've already mentioned, is extremely important to us. It's people that are there to participate because this is what they want to do and they want to belong and they want to share with others. And then the education part, as you'll see, it's very quick to pick up how to develop a system. But beyond that, we have really education and coaching that's second to none. So with that said, I'm going to hand over to Jess, who's going to walk you through the first part of this, and that's the early part of the demonstration of the software. So Jess, over to you.
Job. So let's zoom out a little bit. And to be able to operate effectively in any environment, you need information. And it's really important that you understand the perspective with which that information was developed from and how it's being presented to you. And then ultimately, it's what you do with that information determines where you're heading. And here at Trader Genius, we got your back throughout that whole process. Our goal is to provide that top-notch education, that technology and support so you can stand on your own 2 feet. And ultimately, what we want to do is grow this community to a certain level of sustainability, and then we will be closing the doors. And we're looking for the right people. And that's those that are self-starters that want to cultivate a level of self-reliance. And you can do this yourself. So if you want to get the software and take it and run, you can kind of do our Maverick route, and you'll have a single point of contact within Trader Genius that'll give you the access to the videos and the different resources to support you to build your own trading process. Or you can go the tribal route. And that's through our phenomenal coaching program that I've gone through, literally changed my life, as well as the other guys here on the call. And this gives you access to a community that speaks the same language, because through the coaching, you learn the cornerstone method, and that's unique to Trader Genius. And so you get access to this community, and everybody understands Cornerstone and the principles behind it, to include master traders who volunteer their time to even further support you in your trading and in your goals. And so today we're only going over about 5% of the software. So I highly encourage you to sign up for the trial membership and don't delay. Just jump on that free coaching. That's an hour of free coaching with me or somebody from my team, and we'll get you dialed in specifically to the areas that matter the most to you. Now, the Trader Genius software itself solves a lot of problems that we have as traders, but one of the biggest problem is, where do you find your next trade? A lot of us rely on the news or our emotions. Well, the news, they're paid entertainers. They don't necessarily have your best interest in mind. And oftentimes the ones that are the most popular are the ones that communicate their ideas the most effectively. But that doesn't mean that those ideas are necessarily built around an idea for you to act on them and have success. The other thing is our emotions, and our emotions change. So if we're happy or sad or had a bad day at work, it's going to change how we perceive our environment or how we look at the charts if we don't have a system. If we rely on those emotions, since they're inconsistent, it leads to inconsistent decision making, which then ultimately leads to inconsistent results. And as traders, that's not what we're interested in. We want to have that nice, consistent, growing account in whatever manner it is that you prefer to trade. And so how do you develop a system or a method to create consistent trading? Well, you need information and technology. And in particular, that since the market has been changing, we need to have modern tools for this modern market. And so we're going to jump into the software here and talk a little bit about some of those modern tools that we have that can help you bring that consistency and that stability to your trading. I'm going to share my screen with you. All right, so when you start your trial, this brings you to the homepage. And within the Trader Genius software, you can trade stocks, options, Forex. You can trade all the way from a 1-minute candle chart all the way up to a multi-decade perspective, and cycle trading and trend trading. The software is extremely robust. So kind of finding your niche in the software, and don't expect that you need to know everything about the software to be able to effectively use it. As a matter of fact, I think I probably only use 10 to 15% of the software, and it allows me to trade full-time and generate multiple streams of income from just this software. We're going to jump from the Home tab down to the List tab, and this is going to take us to the Master List. Now, the Master List is the backbone of our software, and this allows you to find the most right and relevant information. Again, that information idea, where only the stuff that matters is shown to you here, not allowing you to get distracted from extraneous information. Everything in this list and everything in the software is research backed. It's all data driven based off of actual behavior of that particular stock. And it's using testable, mathematical, in-depth analysis to create these charts and to create these lists. So on the master list, we're looking at 7,000 stocks. How do we even begin to make sense of 7,000 stocks? That's just too much to sift through. Well, one of the things that we can do is use these columns. So there's this little column icon up here at the top. You can click on that, and you can select any of these columns, and it'll populate the left side of the master list. And you can organize by that particular column or overlap multiple different columns. And so the right and relevant information that matters to you floats to the top. So that's one way to organize it. Another way to organize the master list is to use our rating system. And the rating system is seen right here between the growth, investing, dividend, and options. And what these ratings allow you to do is put all 7,000 stocks on a level playing field for that particular type of trading. The boxes over here, the area over here to the right of this top row is our Genius modes, and they are phenomenal. It is a trading system that was developed that literally you can just plug and play and run with it, or you can use it as an additional indicator to an already developed system. But we're going to talk a little bit more about that once you have a little bit more context about the software. In the middle row, this is looking at the long-term health of the company, from quarterly charts to the financials. And the bottom is the actual individual charts that allow you to systematically decide your entries and exits. And Rob's going to go over a few of those indicators for you to gain some clarity on exactly what they are and how they're unique to Trader Genius. Rob?
Yeah, thank you, Jess. And guys, everybody who's attending, just realize that what Jess was just talking about, this dashboard that our co-founders programmed for us to use simply, plus this chart section that I'm going to talk to you about, these are the tools. You're witnessing it right now. This is how you make a system to trade and make money consistently. That's it. So to Jess's point, how do we consistently enter and exit at the right times so that we can have consistent success over time and build a trading system that works? It's a systematic method of trading. You have all those general indicators that Jess was talking about at the top, the rating systems, the quarterly, the big picture stuff. But this right here, this chart along the bottom, is your lens to view the behavior of an individual stock. So Jess, we opened it up and we went to Canadian Pacific Railway. So that's what we're seeing down here, guys. Let me orient you real quick to this chart down at the bottom. Charts are how we view the behavior of a stock. You can see over on the left, we have the price levels. That's the share price of Canadian Pacific, bracketed for the obviously territory that it's in. We can look at daily, weekly, or monthly views. If you just click this little toggle here, let's stick with the weekly. That means that each one of these candles is 1 week worth of price action for Canadian Pacific. If it's a red candle, you know during that week it lost share price. If it's a blue or a green candle, you know it gained share price during that week of trading. That's it. That's as easy as this is. A candlestick is just like a line chart, except it gives you even more information. It's a box and whisker turned on its sides. So that's your chart orientation. Now, looking at this, we can tell Canadian Pacific went up a little bit, had a dip, and then it's been gaining steadily ever since then. It's kind of hard to develop a system around that. So simple logic rules for entries and exits. Let's bring in 3 of the indicators that Trader Genius's co-founders programmed to be binary and user-friendly, but are power-packed with math behind them, sophisticated math too. So I'm going to give you 3, trigger, K-band, and trend line. We'll just cover them in an overview, and we'll talk about how you use them primarily. Trigger, I turned that on in the tray down here at the bottom of your screen, and you can see we got some green and red tint in the background, this background highlight. What trigger does is shows us the longer term momentum of a stock. And when the conditions are prime for growth, the momentum shows that that stock has a green marking. These are not retrospective, these are marked in real time. So as soon as those conditions are met, you have momentum in the upward direction for Canadian Pacific here and here. Not every, case of trigger, instance of trigger is going to be created equal. Doesn't mean it's going to take off. It just means the conditions are set for long-term momentum. And when we have a red trigger on, you have that downward momentum. So the price is declining for Canadian Pacific. The absence of trigger still tells us something, but generally you're going to see some lower volume, small candles, and sideways price action. So probably not the best conditions to trade when trigger is completely off. Let's turn trigger off, which gave us momentum. Let's turn on our second indicator, K band. Now, K band sounds like the bands that, if you have any experience, that you've seen marking your charts, and you kind of have to get in there with a microscope and tell, is it how far above that line or below that band am I? K band in Trader Genius is super valuable because it's either on or it's off. You have upward K band showing immediate power in that candle, and that's a blue highlight around your candles. And then the yellow highlight around your candle shows some really sharp, powerful decline in price. And you can see back here, if we just do the math, that was during COVID times. A lot of stocks were doing the same thing Canadian Pacific was doing, dropping rapidly. So K-Band caught that pretty nicely. We could change the perspectives on Canadian Pacific and see that, yeah, you've had a lot of powerful upward growth on the monthly candles. Let's take it back to weekly. And again, K-band can be off. It doesn't have to be blue or yellow. It can be sideways as well. But let's bring in our third and final indicator of the demonstration, trend lines. We'll turn K-band off just temporarily. Now, trend lines, if you have any experience, trend lines are a common tool. But most of the trend lines you see in your software out there, and it probably did have a trend line on it, they're kind of really, really basic, and they don't do a lot of intelligent information presentation for you. So Trader Genius has two important kinds of trend lines. You have this thicker trend line, which could be either red or green, marking up and down trends. It's a solid line. This is a best fit scatter plot, and it's drawn right now. None of these indicators that we're showing right now are retrospective. They're not kind of hedging their bets and showing you what you want to hear based off of the behavior. No, it's the behavior right now to show you what this stock, what Canadian Pacific is doing right now. The smaller dashed trend line is our most powerful. It's called the fast trend line. This one is super intelligent because it actually turns off when that trend is stopping. It's just simple math. So it's a really good tool for exiting your stock trades. We could put all three of these simple indicators together, and we knew from the start, before we turned on any indicators, that Canadian Pacific had grown. But now we can start to see our ideal entry and exit points with just three simple indicators. And again, guys, this simple compilation of indicators to make a system of logic rules around, this is the systematic trading that Jess was talking about. This is the education of our co-founders at Trader Genius, who Mark was talking about. That education is baked into the technology, so it all kind of touches on itself. This is how you systematize your trading. Now, we'll zoom back out. Looking through the chart, we just established that Canadian Pacific might have really good entry or exit points. That's at a very tactical level of, do we want to be involved with this stock within our own system? But further upstream, Trader Genius has some awesome tools that can feed these high quality candidates into your system and let you decide for yourself whether this is a stock that you want to be involved with. Mark, what are some of those tools within the Trader Genius ecosystem that the attendees tonight can use to feed their trading system those stock candidates?
Thanks, Rob. I think one of the most important things to cover straight out the gate is we have a number of preset lists within the software itself. So if you're someone that comes and says, well, I don't want to do a lot of research, I just kind of want someone to kind of point me in the right direction, there is a lot of information already set up in the software that will give you those kind of lists that you can utilize straight out the gate and start doing some research. I'm going to cover three in particular that are very, very powerful and that are relatively new developments in the last year or so that I think all of us leverage one way or the other. And those three are the daily dozen, all-time high, and then I think the cherry on the top is the smart list. Daily dozen, it's pretty much what it says. It's the day's most active stocks as far as the system is concerned. This is where you start leveraging the power of computing, artificial intelligence, and all of the other layers that we have built into the software. But really what it's looking at is those most active stocks on any given trading days. Now you might say, well, yeah, there's plenty of other systems that throw out, active stocks. This is a system generated. It's looking at a lot of more criteria than just the 12 most active stocks. And it kind of at least 12, but sometimes it may be one or two. And I always tell people, if you've got none or one or two stocks on the daily dozen, there's a lot more going on within the stock market that particular day. And you may want to take that into consideration before you decide what to do next. But it's roughly about 12. And you can also get this in an e-report. So if you don't want to actually open up the software, you just want to check out a few stocks in the daily dozen, we do it as an e-report. Comes straight into your email and you can check it out online. Second one is the all-time high. Now, another common question we get is, well, how do I find the next Amazon? How do I find the Netflix? It was great 15 years ago when these guys started out, but where's the next one? All-time highs are a great place to start. When you think about what that actually means, it's the fact that a company's stock is breaking through its all-time high for that particular company. Now, if that's doing it on a consistent basis, like day after day or week after week, it keeps breaking through its all-time highs. Guess what? That may be something that you want to spend some time looking at. Certainly something that I leverage as a tool. And it's a great place. Again, another very convenient list of stocks that are performing particularly well. So it's a great place to start, do your own analysis, see if they meet your rules, and then decide if it's something that you might want to trade. And then the last thing, as I said, the cherry on the top is our smart list. Now, you may remember at the early part of this webinar, Jess was talking about the master list as the backbone of our system. The smart list takes that to just the next level in terms of almost being your virtual trading assistant. So I'm going to actually ask Jess to jump in and actually help me on this. So Jess, if you want to click on the smart list, you'll see that what it allows you to do is develop your own fully customizable lists based on what you're interested in and what some of your rules are. You'll see that there's actually two different ways that you set this up, and I'll cover the first and Jess will jump in and cover the second. And the first one that you'll be familiar with, because you've already seen it, is the column section. So Jess, if you want to just pull that out. Great. So as you can see from the master list, you have a choice of all the different things that you want to see in the different columns, and that's what will begin to populate on the smart list. So whether you're looking for growth, dividend, and that's also the other beauty of the smart list is depending on how you want to trade, or if you have a full range portfolio from just fast growth stocks, or whether you're looking for long-term investments, you can set up smart lists for each of those categories, and each one will be unique to what it is you're trying to do. So that's, again, another powerful part of what this tool does. But the columns are the first step, and it allows you to identify the things that you want to see. So Jess, you want to kind of walk through the filters part, because that's where it gets really interesting.
Absolutely, Mark. So once you've selected your columns, so you know that you want to see these 5 things, 10 things, 2 things, whatever's most important to you for your trading system, you select them on these columns and you select OK. And then you come to the filter. This filter right up here next to the column, or funnel right up next to the column. Click on that, and all of the columns that you clicked on that are able to be filtered, which is the vast majority of them, then they all get populated right here on the left-hand side with underneath name. Now you can filter these 3 different ways. You can either do greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, or between 2 values. So for instance, last closing price, if you know that you're not interested in any stock that has a share price above $1,000, select last closing price, click on this and select less than or equal to 1,000. And then all of the stocks that populate your list are all going to have a share price under 1,000. So you can quickly take that list of 7,000 stocks and you can filter it to 16 stocks. And the beauty of it is you don't have to do this every day. Once you build it and you know that it works, again, that systematic trading, you know that it works. Every day that you come into the software, all you do is click on your smart list and it'll just push out the information that you are wanting to have. It's extremely powerful. Mark, you got anything else you want to say on that?
This is the one tool that I think we've had it for about 6 months or so. But for anybody that has experience that's watching this as a trader, you can't help but understand just what this tool does for you. This was absolutely something designed by traders for traders, because this makes life so much easier. As Jess mentioned, that we have over 7,000 stocks that we are looking at on the master list. And with this one tool, and bear in mind that you can actually customize it to the stuff that you want to see, you want to look at, you go from that down to, what was it, 16 stocks. Now, if you want to make life easy and convenient and know that you're looking at things that are important to you, this is the way to do it. The other thing that's really cool, there's one filter there that Jess didn't touch on, because we're going to actually come to this next. And for those of you just looking for a trading system, it's important to learn to understand what your system is. But if you're looking for a trading system, we have that built in, and that's our genius modes. And that's actually the last two columns that you see there refer to our genius modes. Someone asked me, like, how do you describe genius modes? And really the best thing I can think of is an analogy that came to mind. Actually, it was Jess's and I stole it because it was so good. But it's really like, it's like back in the day when I remember, it's having a map, an old-fashioned map. And you used to have to open it up if you're going cross town, cross state, cross country. You've got all these different maps and you're trying to work your way out. And if you took the right turn, and you know, how far is that? And what was the name of that street? And you're just trying to work out where you're going. That's what trading was like. Genius modes is really your GPS system. That's where it's telling you, turn right, turn left, keep going this far. This is when you want to stop. This is when you want to turn. That's genius modes. That's probably the best analogy I can give. And with that said, just to kind of frame it and give you some context on that, I'm going to hand it over to Jess, because he's going to go into this a bit more detail so you can appreciate really what this tool does, and why we were so excited when it was launched as part of Trader Genius. So over to you, Jess.
Awesome. Thanks, Mark. So yeah, this GPS trading system, it has two different perspectives with which it looks through the market. And one's a weekly perspective and one's a monthly perspective. And the weekly perspective is stock trader genius modes. The monthly perspective is investor genius mode. And what this trading system allows you to do is essentially create simplicity, because signal on or signal off, it's binary. It says, hey, these, based on our research, we know are great candidates for low risk entries and for exits. Now, some people follow this system very closely and almost exclusively, and others follow the system, but more as an additional indicator or confirmation of a trading system that they've already developed. So for example, we're here on this smart list, and you can see the diamond up here and these banners. Well, the diamond means that stock trader genius mode is currently on for that particular stock. And the banners mean that it's historically performed well. So you can take these 16 stocks and in an instant, at a glance, 2 of them are in stock trader genius. So, okay, down to 2 stocks that quickly each day, being able to confirm your decisions and get that extra support for your deciding factors, whether to enter into a particular stock or not. The benefit of the genius modes is essentially what you're doing is you're offloading the work to those that know best, i.e. the power of computing. The computers can do way more in some areas than we could ever even imaginably do as human beings. And then the other aspect of it, which just makes it so wonderful, is this was decades of research, and incorporated in the trading system is best practices that were developed by highly successful genius level traders themselves. And ultimately, the results speak for themselves. We don't hide any data. We let you know where it works and where it doesn't work. That way, you don't have to rely on us. You can make your own clear-headed, risk-managed decisions. And we can dive into more detail with the Genius modes. Specifically, when you sign up for your trial membership and start that free coaching, we can demo these and talk about them, how it relates to your goals and how it can help you get there. So the tools that we've showed you today are consistent. These tools have been around for decades. We know that they work. Now, the real big question for most traders to become successful is how you, as the human, can become consistent and integrate yourself with the software and build out a trading system that you trust and that you know works. So it gets rid of all that extra guesswork or, hey, let me look over here to see if there's something better. It allows you to stay focused on exactly what you have and building that trading vehicle to get you to where you want to go. And that's where our coaching comes in. Rob, you want to talk about that?
That's right, Jess. And Trader Genius Coaching not only uses those amazing tools and gives you access to those if you're a coaching student, but it takes those tools and applies the know-how of how to use them effectively. So those tools are programmed to behave a certain way. Data goes in and they display something on your chart. Mark and Jess have done a great job of showing you how those tools have worked so effectively and all the value that's kind of bundled up inside them. But knowing how to use those tools is the name of consistent trading. And we're going to get down to the behavioral level with your mindset training in your coaching. And that means if there's a habit that you're showing and exhibiting in your trading process that's helpful towards effectiveness in trading, we're going to reinforce that. And we're going to identify and start to condition out all those unhelpful habits that don't belong in trading, like greed, fear, hope. None of that belongs. We have, I have a personal connection with my own coach. 5 years ago, when I got into Trader Genius, that's how I started. I had no experience, and I developed a bond and a long lasting friendship with him over the effectiveness of our trading. And, you know, he showed a real care for me, and I do that as the head coach for Trader Genius now. So whether you have experience like Jess did coming into Trader Genius, or like myself had zero experience, Trader Genius coaching can help you get up and running with your trading business. How are we going to get there? Practice. Lots of practice, hundreds of repetitions of whatever trading style you're going to be pursuing. And that's supplemented with the power of the simulator. Our founders, our co-founders at Trader Genius had the foresight to program simulators so that we could practice all of our trading techniques and strategic drills in a simulated environment before we ever risk a single cent on our trading. So you'll be up and running and proven effective. 80% gains to 20% losses is the graduation criteria for your coaching course. And we'll talk about how to get there, but the good news is everybody who's given it their all has gotten to that and has graduated. There's a team of coaches and master traders who volunteer their time to help the training department get new students through. So you're not alone. Your coach has your back. There's all kinds of other traders around the club who are going to help bring you up. And we're going to use a trade log to tease out what works and what doesn't in your trading system. So we've got all that value bundled up in Trader Genius coaching, and there's 3 different varieties to suit your schedule, needs, and whatever trading goals you're trying to achieve. Number 1 is the video-based training. Video coaching has several quizzes throughout that are challenging, as well as you progress at your own pace. It's kind of a la carte video on demand for consuming the education courses that are bundled up. It's a training course that walks you from the basics to the foundations, all the way up to your cornerstone method. And then you have an interview at the end with your coach to see if you qualify for Genius modes. And we can have more conversations about that when you take your free hour of basic coaching with Jess. The second variety of Trader Genius coaching is the small group coaching. It's pretty powerful stuff when you get to brush shoulders with up to 5 other traders who are at your same kind of place in life. They're trying to build up a trading system that works to open up the lifestyle that they've always dreamed of. So just the fact that you get to be brushing shoulders and kind of side by side with those kinds of folks helps your trading immensely by bouncing experiences off of each other. Best practices is what we do. That's what Trader Genius community was founded on. And you meet twice a week with your coach for an hour. It's an 8-week course, and you get to have those meaningful discussions. And then on your own time, you do your practice repetitions, show up ready to go and progress through the training. The third and final variety of Trader Genius coaching is our private coaching. This is where you get one-on-one time with your coach, dedicated time and attention to, first off, establishing that really effective trading mindset. And then from there, we go through the repetitions one-on-one, and you get that personalized touch. So if you're going to go all out, private coaching is the way to go with Trader Genius. Same graduation standard, and you can do this. That's what the underlying message of Trader Genius coaching is. Anybody can, who's going to give it the time and attention that it requires, can build a trading system that's consistently effective to open up the lifestyle they've always wanted. So, Mark, we covered a lot tonight, and generally in our webinars we have some pretty common questions that come around. So, what are a couple of those that the attendees can get their answers to?
Yeah, we're going to hit really the top three, I like to call them, of questions we get asked. One I think you've touched, but it still comes up on a regular basis. So, Rob, I know nothing. I know absolutely nothing about the stock market or stocks. Is Trader Genius for me?
Short answer is yes, brother. Some of the most powerful and successful students that I've trained myself and other coaches have trained have zero experience. And there's a good reason for that. Sometimes you have bad habits coming in if you've tried it before. So it's best if it's not best. It works if you're a blank slate, or if you have experience. We can talk about how your trading went before and how we can improve it using proven methodology and proven tools.
Yep, perfect. So, yep, come all, come many. Everyone is welcome. And another one that we get asked a lot is, do you guys handle money? No, we don't. We are not a broker. We do not handle any money. And if you're joining us for the stock trading and investing, it is an absolutely what we call a BYOB, the non-alcoholic version, which is bring your own broker. So it makes absolutely no difference to us or what we do here as to where or how you run your trades. So whoever you decide to use, that's great. You get to use an extremely powerful tool, and you have the support of the community again to help you in that. But ultimately, you are handling your own account with your own broker. I will say the one exception to that is if you're here for day trading, the system is set up to work with interactive brokers. We do not have any affiliation with interactive brokers. They are simply the most reliable data source that we've found available. And so we utilize that. The system is set up to function on that. So if you're day trading stocks and options, you do have the buy sell button built into the software, and that is linked to interactive brokers. But again, it is your account. With interactive brokers, we have no access and we do not get involved in that at all, but that's the one exception. Other than that, stocks and investing, bring whoever you want. And the last one, I'm going to hand over to Jess. So who is behind Trader Genius? Jess, who are we?
Great question, Mark. We're human. At the end of the day, we care about the human component to what we do. And so there's no bots, no put in your ticket, we'll get to you in 96 hours when we get an opportunity to look at your issue. When you become a member of Trader Genius, you will always have a single point of contact, a direct point of contact with somebody at Trader Genius that can either answer your questions or get the people necessary involved to answer your questions and help you find the resources and tools you need. We're a community, we're a club, and that's exactly what we reflect in how we interact with you all. Is we care about you being here and we care about your success. So to take the first step, take that trial and see for yourself.
That's a great segue for me because I want to round it all out by really where we started. And that Trader Genius really has three fundamentals that it's built around. And that's the club, the education, and the technology. And what Jess is talking about and what we referred to before as the club is a very important part of who we are. We take great care and consideration of the people that are members of Trader Genius. And so we actually don't invite everybody in. We make sure that we maintain the standards within the club, and that's really because of everybody's benefit, is we all benefit from each other's involvement in this community. The second thing is the education. And as Rob and Jess both alluded to, whether you want to kind of strive through your own path and be a maverick and actually develop your own system all on your own, utilizing the tool, you've seen tonight just very briefly how easy that is to do. And we literally touched on the very tip of this iceberg in terms of what this system is capable of. So if that's what you're doing, we've got you covered from the education standpoint, not only for doing it yourself, but as Rob very eloquently covered, from the coaching aspect. Whether you want to do it online, whether you want to do small group, or whether you want to go to the creme de la creme, the private one-on-one coaching, we've got you covered there, and it will make a difference. As Rob said, our graduation level is 80% winning trades. So that's what we will work to. That's the minimum. We have plenty of members that are performing well above 80%, but that's the kind of grade and that's the level that we work to. And then the technology. The whole point of this evening, or the whole point of this webinar, was to give you some insight of what the tool is about. That's one of those things that you really have to see in order to believe it. It's hard just to throw up a chart and say, well, this is what we do. Now you've actually seen the software live demoed on this webinar, and you can see how simple it is, but the level of sophistication that go behind it is unlike anything else you'll come across. And a lot of these indicators and signals that you'll see are unique to us. It's part of what's been developed by us at Trader Genius. Again, traders ourselves developing tools for other traders. So this is what we're all about. And what you'll get in an email that we'll send out is all of the relevant links for you. Again, try the trial. Really no reason not to try it, and see for yourself, play with it. If you've got questions, you can reach out to us various different ways. The Facebook page is how most people get to the webinar, but we have the Facebook page and we have Messenger there. So if you've got questions that you think about after the fact, just shoot us a note in Messenger, and one of us will get back to you as quick as we can. We also have a website. A website was been constantly in development. It has a ton of information, very user-friendly. It has all of our tools that some of the seen tonight and more in short videos, so you can kind of find out more about all the different tools that we have. It talks about the community, whether it's the live events or whether it's the online events that we do with our membership, and also just a host of other info, the membership itself, the different types that you have, as well as the coaching. It goes into more depth into the coaching, all on the website, including a contact us page. So if you want to go to the website and contact us, you can do it there. But in the email that you'll receive, you'll also have my email address as well as my mobile number. And it's actually me, not a bot. So you can reach out, and I'll happily, if I can answer it myself, I will. If not, I will make sure that it gets to the right person and they will get back to you. So there's always someone that will actually reach back to you. And as Jess said, this isn't some kind of bot or fill out a ticket. You actually get to deal with people as part of Trader Genius, again, because we're a community, and that's what's important to us. So that's it for the webinar. Appreciate you making the time to spend with us, hopefully getting to know us a little bit better, as well as the Trader Genius community. And we look forward to answering questions. So thank you very much.